For some reason today, I woke up thinking about liars. We all lie. And if you think you don't, you're just lying to yourself. But, excuse me, I was thinking about scripture. I mean, there are several places, several people in the scripture that lies about stuff. And scripture doesn't condone it. It's just stating as a fact that people do. I mean, Abraham lied about Sarah being his sister. Well, she was his half sister, but a half a truth is still a lie. And anyway, for some reason, it might have been in my reading last night. I don't recall right offhand because I've read this several times over the last few days. But there was a guy. Okay, so Saul, the king of Israel, he was at war with the Philistines, and he got killed. And there was a guy that came up to David, who was the next king, and told him that Saul and Jonathan had been killed. And David asked him how he knew, and he said, "Oh, well, because I just happened to be there when it happened, and everybody around Saul was dead, and he was just hanging on to a spear." And he says, "Hey, why don't you run me through and kill me so these guys don't?" So I did. It didn't end up well for that guy. I know that he thought that he was going to get some kind of promotion, or he was going to get some money for bringing news of this to David. And he also brought David the crown and an armband that Saul had been wearing. And he collected those. He had to have been in the area because he collected those before the Philistines could get to him. But I think the guy was lying, because in 1 Samuel 30, it said that Samuel was dead, and then his armor bearer killed himself. And so it said he was dead. It plainly said that Saul was dead. And then in 2 Samuel 1 is when this guy came up to David and told him this. So, and I will post this scripture as New American Standard, the 1995 version. I like the older version better, but it doesn't have audio. Anyway, where was I going? Oh, that's not the only place in Scripture where a liar is done in. Ananias and Sapphira, I think that was their name. That was her name. I think his name was Ananias. In the book of Acts, somewhere, they take money and they lay at the apostles' feet, saying, "Hey, we sold our property and this is what we got for it." Well, that wasn't what they got for it. They got more for it than what they gave. But they said, "This is all we got for it." So anyway, the guy dies, and then and the woman's not there, but she comes in later, and Peter asks her. He says, "Hey, is this how much money you got for that piece of property?" She says, "Well, sure it is." And he says, "Your husband's dead, and the people that carried him to bury him, they're coming in and they're going to take you too." So she died too. So anyway, liars do not come to a good end. I'm not sure how to wrap this up, but that's what I was thinking about when I woke up this morning. So anyway, this is just what I've been thinking about today, and I thought I'd bring you in on it. So anyway, y'all have a good day, and God bless you.
Now the Philistines were fighting against Israel, and the men of Israel fled from before the Philistines, and fell slain on Mount Gilboa. The Philistines overtook Saul and his sons, and the Philistines killed Jonathan, and Abinadab, and Malchishua, the sons of Saul. The battle went heavily against Saul, and the archers hit him, and he was badly wounded by the archers. Then Saul said to his armor-bearer, "Draw your sword and pierce me through with it, otherwise these uncircumcised will come and pierce me through and make sport of me." But his armor-bearer would not, for he was greatly afraid. So Saul took his sword and fell on it. When his armor-bearer saw that Saul was dead, he also fell on his sword and died with him. Thus Saul died with his 3 sons, his armor-bearer, and all his men on that day together. Now it came about after the death of Saul, when David had returned from the slaughter of the Amalekites, that David remained 2 days in Ziklag. On the 3rd day, behold, a man came out of the camp from Saul, with his clothes torn and dust on his head. And it came about when he came to David that he fell to the ground and prostrated himself. Then David said to him, "From where do you come?" And he said to him, "I have escaped from the camp of Israel." David said to him, "How did things go? Please tell me." And he said, "The people have fled from the battle, and also many of the people have fallen and are dead, and Saul and Jonathan his son are dead also." So David said to the young man who told him, "How do you know that Saul and his son Jonathan are dead?" The young man who told him said, "By chance I happened to be on Mount Gilboa, and behold, Saul was leaning on his spear, and behold, the chariots and the horsemen pursued him closely. When he looked behind him, he saw me and called to me, and I said, 'Here I am.' He said to me, 'Who are you?' And I answered him, 'I am an Amalekite.' Then he said to me, 'Please stand beside me and kill me, for agony has seized me because my life still lingers in me.' So I stood beside him and killed him, because I knew that he could not live after he had fallen. And I took the crown which was on his head, and the bracelet which was on his arm, and I have brought them here to my lord." Then David took hold of his clothes and tore them, and so also did all the men who were with him. They mourned and wept and fasted until evening for Saul and his son Jonathan, and for the people of the Lord, and the house of Israel, because they had fallen by the sword. David said to the young man who told him, "Where are you from?" And he answered, "I am the son of an alien, an Amalekite." Then David said to him, "How is it you were not afraid to stretch out your hand to destroy the Lord's anointed?" And David called one of the young men and said, "Go cut him down." So he struck him, and he died. David said to him, "Your blood is on your head, for your mouth has testified against you, saying, 'I have killed the Lord's anointed.'"